Before we start, please like this video and leave your thoughts in the comments. It really helps the channel. Okay, so have you ever wished you had a superpower? The ability to accurately predict what someone's going to do next? Well, today we're diving into a fascinating framework that gets pretty close, and it comes straight from a former FBI agent. Let's get into it. So let me just ask you this right off the bat. When you hear that phrase, sizing people up, what comes to mind? For a lot of us, it feels a little judgy, right? It feels like something we're not really supposed to be doing. But what if we've been looking at it all wrong? This quote right here is the key. It's from Robin Dreeke, who used to be the head of the FBI's Counterintelligence Behavioral Analysis Program. And what he's saying is, this isn't about slapping labels on people as good or bad. The whole point is predictability. It's about understanding someone's likely moves so you can manage your own expectations and not get completely blindsided or frustrated when they act in a way you could have seen coming. So yeah, we're moving way beyond that simple and honestly often misleading gut feeling. You know the one I'm talking about, that instant vibe you get where you either like someone or you don't. That intuition can actually be a huge trap because it creates a bias that just clouds our judgment. We need something a little more reliable. And this is where it really clicks. Liking someone and trusting them to do a specific thing, well, they are two totally different universes. Dreeke uses this perfect analogy. Think about your best friend. You'd probably trust them with your life, right? But would you trust them to fly a 747 if they're not a pilot? Of course not. See, predictability isn't about feelings. It's about understanding someone's actual patterns and skills. So where on earth did this system come from? Well, it wasn't dreamed up in some corporate workshop or university lab. Nope. This was forged in one of the most high-stakes environments you can possibly imagine, the world of FBI counterintelligence. This is Robin Dreeke, and for years, his job was what he calls the toughest sales job on the face of the planet. His mission? To convince foreign diplomats and spies to betray their own country and work for the United States. I mean, just think about the challenge here for a second. The product he's selling is something his potential clients would literally call treason. His customers are highly trained intelligence officers who are actively looking for and trying to avoid people just like him. And to top it all off, it was illegal for him to even make the first move. A typical pushy approach would fail spectacularly. He had to figure out a completely different way. And this is the fundamental truth he landed on. People are, at their core, remarkably predictable. We almost always, consistently, act in our own best interest. The trick isn't trying to change that. The trick is to understand what they see as their best interest from their point of view. So, and this is the crucial part, this whole thing only works if you can get out of your own head. It's not about you. It's not about your needs or how great your arguments are. Success only comes when you suspend your own ego and get genuinely curious about what makes the other person tick. Okay, so how do you actually do this? How do you put it into practice? Well, Dreeke developed a set of tools he calls the Code of Trust, and it's all designed to make every conversation about the other person, which literally gives their brain a little chemical reward just for talking to you. And here are the 4 pillars. First, you actively seek out their thoughts and opinions. Think about it. We only ask for advice from people we respect. Second, you frame everything in terms of what's important to them. Third, you validate them. Now, this doesn't mean you have to agree with them. It just means you try to understand their point of view without judging it. And finally, you empower them with choices whenever you can. All right, so once you start building that trust using those 4 steps, you can start using the main event, the core tool for prediction. Dreeke pinpointed 6 specific signs to look for that will help you predict someone's behavior with way more accuracy. Here they are. Vesting, longevity, reliability, actions, language, and stability. Now, we're all kind of doing this stuff intuitively, but putting a name to each one, it's like buying a new car, and then suddenly you see that car everywhere. Once you know these signs, you'll start spotting them constantly. So let's break them down. First up, we have vesting. This is all about shared success. Are their words and, more importantly, their actions showing a we're in this together kind of attitude? You know, like a boss who gives you great projects to work on because they know your success reflects well on them too. Second is longevity. Do they talk and act like they're going to be around for the long haul? Or does everything feel like a short-term transaction? Someone who's showing longevity might talk about plans for next year or work on building traditions, showing that they see a future with you. Number 3 is reliability. And this one's a biggie. It's a two-parter. It's not just about having the skill to do something, that's competence. It's also about having the energy and the drive to actually get it done. That's diligence. You've got to have both to predict a successful outcome. Sign number 4 is actions. It's the old classic, actions speak louder than words. Past behavior is the single best predictor of future behavior. If you see someone act a certain way 2 or 3 times, it's a pretty safe bet they're going to do it that way a 4th and a 5th time. Look for those patterns. Number 5 is language. And this is where we flip the script a little bit. Are they using those 4 trust-building tools with you? Are they asking for your opinions? Are they talking about your priorities? Are they validating your perspective? It's a huge sign of mutual respect.
And finally, number 6, stability. How does this person handle pressure? When things go wrong, do they freak out and get totally hijacked by their emotions? Or can they stay calm, cool, and thoughtful? This tells you so much about how they'll perform when the chips are down.
So, what's the big payoff here? What does all this look like in the real world? Well, the biggest change isn't just in how you see other people. It's in how you react to them. It completely changes your own emotional response to things. Just look at this comparison. Without this framework, let's say a reliable coworker's performance suddenly takes a nosedive. Our default reaction is often judgment. Ugh, they must be lazy or they just don't care. But with this framework, you see a break in their pattern of action, and your default reaction becomes curiosity. Something must have changed. I wonder what new priority just popped up in their life. And that right there is the ultimate reward. All that frustration and anger you feel when people don't live up to your secret, unspoken expectations, it just melts away. And it gets replaced by a genuine understanding of why people do the things they do. And that is an incredibly powerful and honestly peaceful way to go through life. I really want to leave you with this amazing quote from Robin Dreeke because it just sums up this entire philosophy so perfectly. Real influence, real connection, it all comes from making other people feel seen, heard, and valued. So, my final question for you to think about is this. Who in your life, your coworkers, your boss, your friends, maybe even your family, who could you build a stronger, less frustrating relationship with just by starting to look for these 6 signs? I think the answer might really surprise you.